for Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and the 22nd pick in the draft. I actually really like this move for the Lakers. I'd like to keep Montrezl Harrell, although it kind of seemed like some weird stuff happened at the end of the season.
With the Clippers, too. His Clippers and Lakers, it just, whatever it is about his personality, with both, something doesn't rub right.
I just don't get it. He's Sixth Man of the Year. Like, he's a very valuable player. So I would like to keep him, but it just doesn't seem like that's working. DeRozan averaged 21.6 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 6.9 assists last season with the Spurs. He's a very consistent player.
Athletic.
He's played 12 NBA seasons, 9 with the Raptors, 3 with the Spurs. He's a 4-time All-Star. I would actually really like this move for the Lakers.
Well, it's interesting because analytically he doesn't shoot threes, and so we just cast away guys that don't shoot threes. But what we see in the playoffs, Joy, is the mid-range game is really valuable. So the bottom line is DeRozan, in playoff games, half court, get you buckets. And what the Lakers don't have right now with brittle AD sometimes is AD's hurt, who gets us buckets?
He's also a veteran player.
Yeah,
LeBron likes playing with veteran players.
Yes.
He's a very smart player. LeBron likes playing with smart players. Not that Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell aren't smart players. That's not the point. But if you're going to bring somebody in, you want to bring someone in that is the style that LeBron likes playing with. Now, this would kind of imply that the Spurs are resetting a little bit.
Yes.
So is Popovich going to do that at this point? I don't know, but this would make their team much younger, and it would kind of be a rebuilding year.
Montrezl Harrell's an expiring contract, and they get a draft pick. So the coups aside, if you are rebuilding a little bit for San Antonio, you're like, we get a draft pick and a strong draft and an expiring contract. And
Kuzma's a nice player. Like,
he's fine.
We give Kuzma a hard time, but Kuzma is a nice player.
He can start for a championship team.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So Trey Lance was drafted this year, and someday we'll take Jimmy Garoppolo's job as the 49ers starting quarterback. That could have caused some tension between the two, but instead, Jimmy G has taken this opportunity to mentor the young rookie, which I think is very nice. So far, Trey Lance has nothing but good things to say about Jimmy.
Yeah, it's been awesome. He's a great guy. I mean, one of the best people I've been around. And I've been fortunate to be around some, I think, really, really great people. And you know, guys that are going to play today and guys that are still in that locker room right now. Jimmy's just like it, and that organization is the same exact way. So I just feel, like I said, very blessed and fortunate to be where I am. And
of the NBA Finals tonight, Giannis is officially listed as doubtful for tonight's game. He's still recovering from hyperextended knee that he suffered in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. He's reportedly going to fight tooth and nail to be in the lineup. And Mike Budenholzer said the situation for Giannis is currently day-to-day. This sucks. Obviously, would love to see Giannis and would love to see the Suns and the Bucks at full speed for the NBA Finals. And you want the stars. It's been a rough year for injuries, especially to stars throughout the NBA, and it's definitely affected this playoff run, as it does every single year, but it does feel like there's a little bit more this year. And the Suns are healthy, and that's why they're there, and overall the Bucks have been healthy through the playoffs, and that's why they're there.
You know, but I'll say this. The Hawks won without Trey, Bucks won 2 without Giannis, Suns won without Chris Paul. The one thing it is interesting. So the Suns are going to have to prepare for 2 teams. No Giannis and Giannis. And that means 2 different looks in the half-court set. And we've seen the Hawks, the Suns, and the Bucks win without their star. You don't get to the finals on one guy.
Right.
So we know that Brook Lopez will get more minutes and more points. And Middleton will get more points. And Drew Holiday will get more freedom. So I do think long-term you'd want Giannis in the finals. But for a game, I get a little better Drew, a little better Chris, a little more Brook Lopez, Portis. I think Milwaukee can hang. Now, they may get blown out, but there is a slight edge. They're clearly capable of winning games without Giannis. You know who they aren't capable of winning without was Drew Holiday. Remember early in the year, Drew got hurt. We all went, whoa. Is Drew the most valuable player on that team?
Well, they're not going to win the finals without Giannis.
Right.
I don't believe that.
They need some.
Can they drag this out a few games? Can they make it competitive without him? Yeah, I think this will still be a long series. But my anxiety about the Giannis situation is you don't want to see a Kevin Durant situation where he comes back. It feels like the player is wanting to come back. He's not 100%. And then, boom, you have an injury that takes you out for an entire year. That's what you don't want to see. Now, it's the finals, so you want to do everything you possibly can to be on the court, obviously. It's just, I don't this is the time when you want to rush somebody back, but we've seen what happens when you rush someone back and then they're out for an entire year.
Right.
So it's like, I would not want to be the person to have to make that call to put Giannis out there or not, but the Suns are not the Hawks. The Hawks had an incredible season and they were great, but the Suns are better. They're in the finals, and the Bucks. So I think that they can hang, to your point, but they're not going to beat the Suns without Giannis.
Yeah,
and
long term, they need him. Do they need him tonight to win? No, I think they'll be competitive.
No, I don't think they need him tonight. And I think this is going to be a long series anyway. I'm also hoping for a long series. The Suns are favored by 6 tonight. So I would like the Suns tonight with 6. And the Suns are favored minus 200 overall to win the series, according to Fox Bet. So the Lakers, been in conversations for a lot of moves this offseason. They need to make some moves. And the latest report is that they're interested in DeMar DeRozan. Bleacher Report suggests
season is useless for guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, totally useless. Tom Brady goes to a new team last year. They have no camp. They have no preseason. He wins the Super Bowl. New coach, new GM, new players, new playbook. It's all a bunch of nonsense. The preseason to me is, if you want the young guys to play, but Sean McVay proved years ago, you don't have to play any of your starters. You can start the year 8-0. And I don't think Aaron and Russell and Tom, these guys don't need to go to these mini camps. They don't want to be controlled anymore. I totally get it. Just a waste of time. So what does all this mean? Like what he was saying yesterday, what has the last month been for Aaron? And what it feels like for me is he's kind of setting the table for returning to football. And so he's talking publicly about his absence. So therefore, when he comes back to do football, he can talk football. And if they ask him about his offseason, he can say, well, I discussed that already. So like when Tom Brady left New England, there were signs. And I do think, there were signs. He put his house up for sale. He did a documentary calling out the franchise. There are signs that Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the Packers this year. Number one, the Packers aren't budging. They're not taking any calls. Aaron, I know it seems silly, but he rejoined the Green Bay Country Club, where you mostly play in July, August, and September. And he's now explaining his absence. And what does that mean? Hey, I reflected. I took time off, mental health, so he can go back into the football grind, head down, and play. And by the way, there is something to what he said yesterday. He's also telling Packer fans and the Packer executives, I was working. I was just working on the mental side of the game, not just the football side. But I do think this year, what does it all mean? I think it's going to be a fascinating year. And I'll give you the comparison in a second. But the Packers didn't draft Jordan Love to sit for 3 years. All right. Secondly, Aaron and the executives still don't see eye to eye on stuff. The issues have not been resolved. And by the way, Tom Brady's still the best team in the division, and Seattle's gained ground on Green Bay. So it's going to be a fascinating year. Is Aaron going to be more vocal when he's disappointed this year? More aggressive, knowing he's on his way out? Will Jordan Love get real snaps in real games? Green Bay's got to get ready for the next step. So you know what this feels like to me? And it feels a lot like it. And I think Kevin Durant and Aaron Rodgers, high profile, both can be a little prickly, whatever. But it feels like the final year Kevin Durant in Golden State. There were rumors he was unhappy. GM had said something at a parade, didn't necessarily sit well early. It was getting to the point where Kevin's got his own personality and it wasn't really his team. He wanted a little more say. It felt like Steph's team or Kerr's team. And because of that, I have this sourced. Executives, coaches really felt like all year with KD, they were kind of walking on eggshells. Don't offend him. Don't tick him off. And it's a weird place to be as a team. Now, Golden State was still very good because they had so many great players. That's a little bit what it feels like with Aaron Rodgers. The issues haven't been resolved. We know he's not totally happy. He'd like more control and say. It feels like the operation there is going to do what they're going to do like they did with Favre, and players are not going to set precedents. So the issues with